So, your players are getting strong, really strong. They've got legendary weapons, they've taken down dragons, and they walk into every fight like they own the place. But what if all that confidence is making your game kind of boring? What if I told you there's one simple tool that can bring back that edge of your seat tension that makes D&D so good? It's not a new monster or a bigger, badder villain. It's the one thing your players will absolutely love to hate. The cursed magic item. Let's be real, DMs, we've all been there. You spend hours building the perfect dungeon full of tricky traps and scary monsters, only to watch your high-level party just steamroll the whole thing. Their magic swords hit every time. Their fancy armor makes them untouchable, and their bag of holding is an answer for everything. The stakes just feel low because honestly your players feel invincible. Victory stops being a hard-won struggle and just becomes expected. When players aren't worried about consequences, the game loses its spark. That cautious peek around a corner becomes a confident stroll into danger. A cursed item, though, that's a deal. It offers power, but it always comes with a price. And that's where the real fun begins. Cursed items aren't about punishing your players, they're story machines. The best ones are all about creating drama, character growth, and reintroducing the most important thing in a campaign, the difficult choice. A good cursed item should be a balancing act, offering a sweet benefit with a serious drawback. The goal isn't just to slap a player with a penalty, it's to give them a genuine dilemma. Do I keep this awesome sword that crits more often, knowing that on a fumble it just might bite me back? Now that's a tense choice to make mid-combat. These items force your players to get creative and think about the world differently. Suddenly, looting that forgotten crypt isn't just a treasure hunt, it's a gamble. That cool helmet might grant telepathy, but it might also whisper things that drive you mad. The unidentified sword could be a legendary weapon, or it could be something much, much worse. This doubt brings back the thrill of the unknown that makes a dungeon crawl so exciting. Trust me, the 10-minute argument over who's going to attune the weird new magic item can be the highlight of the night. Ultimately, cursed items make for the best stories. The quest to find a cleric powerful enough to break a curse, the role-playing challenge of dealing with an item's bizarre side effects, the moral tightrope of using a dark power for a good cause. Those are the moments your players will be talking about for years. Let me show you what I mean. Here are 3 examples of cursed items that can bring some unforgettable drama to your game. First up is the Bag of Devouring. At a glance, it looks just like a bag of holding. It's an extra-dimensional space that can hold a mountain of loot. It even pings with a faint conjuration aura to a detect magic spell. The party is thrilled. They can finally ditch the pack mule and start stuffing everything inside. Gold, gems, spare armor, you name it. But here's the catch. This bag is actually a hungry, otherworldly creature. In 5th edition D&D, its true nature is subtle. While it won't randomly eat items, the danger spikes when you reach inside. If you're trying to pull a living creature out, or if you just happen to touch the insides, the bag might try to eat you. You have to make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw to pull your hand back in time, or the bag pulls you in completely, sending you to another plane to be digested. You're not dying, just gone. Imagine the slowly dawning horror. At first, everything is fine, but then the party's rogue reaches in for a potion and feels something fleshy brush against their arm. The group's greatest convenience is suddenly a ticking time bomb. Do they risk using it for that critical item in a fight? Do they try to destroy it? What happens if they try to put one Bag of Devouring inside another? It turns a simple utility item into a fantastic source of paranoia. Next on the list is the Sword of Delusion, which is a homebrew classic. This is a fun one for the DM who enjoys a little psychological trickery. In a dragon's horde, your fighter finds a gorgeous longsword that radiates powerful magic. Even an identify spell might be tricked by its powerful illusion, suggesting it's a fantastic +1 longsword. For a low-level character, this is a dream come true. They attune to it instantly, feeling its power hum in their hand, ready to become a hero. But the sword's magic is a carefully crafted lie. It might give a bonus to hit, making the wielder feel like a master swordman, but it secretly sabotages their damage, turning mighty blows into little more than scratches. In some classic versions of this curse, the sword becomes impossible to get rid of. It magically reappears in your sheath even if you sell it or throw it away. The real kicker? A simple remove curse spell in 5e will break the wielder's attunement, allowing them to finally drop it. This creates a brilliant arc of frustration and desperation. The fighter, once the party's heavy hitter, is now completely ineffective. They're stuck with this useless blade and forced to find a solution. While a quick remove curse works, you as the DM can decide if the curse is more complex. Maybe the only way to truly be rid of it is to find the ghost of its creator and reunite it with a lost locket, turning a simple magical problem into an entire side quest. Okay, so now we have Scorpion Armor. Pulled from Tomb of Annihilation, this is the perfect high-risk, high-reward item. It's a suit of terrifying black plate armor crafted from a giant scorpion's carapace. The benefits are amazing. It's AC 18 plate, it gives you resistance to poison damage, and you get a climb speed. Best of all, it has a wicked tail that you can control, making a melee attack that deals a whopping 76 poison damage. For any martial class, this is an absolute game changer. The armor is cursed and it's actively trying to kill you. Just putting it on forces a DC 15 Constitution save to avoid taking massive 10d10 poison damage. Once you've attuned, the real nightmare begins. Every single day at dawn, you have to make that same saving throw as the armor's venom seeps into you. You also can't take the armor off without a removed curse spell. If you keep failing those saves, your Constitution score will start to drop, and the tail might even develop a mind of its own and attack you or your allies. The player who wears it becomes a battlefield monster, a tank who can climb walls and end fights in a single sting. But what's the cost? Every long rest becomes a moment of genuine fear. Is this the day the armor finally kills me? The party's cleric might have to burn their best spell slots just to keep the wearer from dying. The player is locked in a struggle, weighing the incredible power against the fact that their own armor is slowly killing them. That's a character arc right there. So how do you make your own great cursed items? You can follow the philosophies laid out across decades of Dungeon Master's guides, each edition offering its own perspective on what makes curses work. The approach to cursed items has transformed dramatically across editions, with 1st through 3rd editions featuring numerous specific cursed items in their DMGs, while 4th and 5th editions shifted towards providing frameworks for DMs to create their own. Understanding this evolution helps us craft better curses today. The original AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide treated cursed items primarily as traps, designed to keep players cautious and on their toes. These were often purely punitive. Items like the Girdle of Femininity or Masculinity, or cursed weapons that turned against their wielders. The philosophy here was adversarial. The DM's job included surprising and challenging players with hidden dangers. Classic examples included items like the Ring of Delusion, which made the wearer believe they possessed whatever the magical ring they most desired, creating dramatic moments when reality clashed with perception. The 1st edition approach assumed an arms race between clever players trying to avoid traps and DMs trying to catch them off guard. The 2nd edition DMG continued the tradition of abundant cursed items, reflecting an ongoing assumption of an adversarial relationship between players and DM. The philosophy remained largely unchanged. Cursed items were obstacles and gotchas scattered throughout the treasure hoards. Items like the enchanted broomstick that would beat anyone who tried to ride it raised questions about who would make such things and why they'd still exist in the world, but the mechanical function mattered more than narrative coherence. The curse was the point, a punishment for not being careful enough. The 3rd edition approach began treating cursed items more systematically, often framing them as the result of failed magic item creation rather than purely intentional traps. The 3.5 DMG provided specific mechanics for how curses work within the game's framework, including rules for identification and removal. The edition introduced the concept that curses could be deliberately crafted using specific feats and spell prerequisites like Bestow Curse, and that identifying a curse required exceeding the identification DC by 10 or more. This represented a shift towards viewing cursed items as part of the game's internal logic rather than pure DM fiat, though many cursed items still function primarily as traps. 4th edition made the most radical change. Starting with 4th edition, few to no specific cursed items were listed in the DMG. Instead, a chart of curses was provided for DMs to apply when they chose. The editions focused on balance, tactical combat, and clear player expectations meant that gotcha cursed items didn't fit the design philosophy. When curses appeared, they were more likely to be plot devices or challenges that players could see coming and plan around, rather than hidden traps waiting to be sprung. The 5th edition DMG represents a synthesis of lessons learned. Cursed items should create interesting choices, not just punishments. The emphasis shifted from adversarial surprise to collaborative storytelling. First, the benefit must be tempting. A cursed item is a choice, not just a punishment. If the benefit isn't powerful enough to make a player seriously consider keeping it, then it's just a dud they'll likely get rid of. This is a dramatic shift from older editions like AD&D, which had items that were purely negative traps designed to keep players on their toes. The modern philosophy emphasized in the 5th edition DMG is to create a genuine dilemma. The power has to be so good that the player is willing to pay the price. Think of it as the difference between a trap of the 1st or 2nd edition philosophy and a devil's bargain, which is a 5th edition philosophy. A +2 weapon that occasionally makes you attack allies is interesting. A normal looking sword that's actually cursed to give you -2 to the hit is frustrating. Second, the curse must create a story. Instead of a simple -1 to something, think of curses that create role-playing opportunities. The 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide suggests giving items a personality or a purpose, which can create conflict between the wielder and the item itself. This is where we've truly moved beyond earlier editions. So rather than just mechanical penalties, modern curses generate narrative. A shield that makes you immune to fear but also makes you incapable of telling a lie is far more interesting than just a shield with a penalty to armor class. Maybe an item forces a behavioral change, like a sword that requires its wielder to attack the creature that last damaged them, as seen with the Sword of Vengeance. These kinds of curses generate memorable moments of character struggle, turning a piece of treasure into a character arc. Finally, have a plan for how the curse can be removed, but don't make it too easy. The 5e DMG explicitly states that the Identify spell usually won't reveal a curse, and attunement can't be broken voluntarily. You're stuck with the item occupying one of your precious 3 attunement slots. The default way to end a curse is the Remove Curse spell, but the DMG also encourages making it more complicated. Maybe the spell only suppresses the curse for 24 hours, requiring the party to race against time. A permanent solution could require a special ritual, a great personal sacrifice, or a quest tied to the item's lore, like bathing it in dragon's fire, or finding another specific item to nullify its power. That journey can become a whole adventure on its own, transforming what earlier editions treated as a simple problem into a campaign-defining quest. The evolution across these 5 editions teaches us that the best curse items balance all these approaches. They should be mechanically interesting, create narrative tension, and yes, occasionally surprise players. But that surprise should lead to a story, not just frustration. Modern curse items work best when they feel less like the DM punishing players for not being paranoid enough, and more like Faustian bargains that make everyone at the table lean forward with interest. So stop handing your players boring, predictable loot. Introduce a little chaos, a little temptation, and a whole lot of drama. Curse items are more than just magic items with a catch. They are one of the best tools a Dungeon Master has for creating those unforgettable stories of risk and reward. And to help you start crafting your own devious dilemmas, I've put together a Curse Item Builder PDF. It's completely free to download over on Gumroad. The link is in the description below. Go grab it and start building some unforgettable trouble for your players.